Hello, everybody. Welcome to our QuickBooks online overview session. My name is Steve Chase. I'll be your presenter today. And I am currently practicing QuickBooks Online as an advanced QuickBooks Online ProAdvisor. And also I run a bookkeeping firm and training company called Sequentia Solutions. So I've just have been working with bookkeeping QuickBooks since 2008. And most recently switched over to the QuickBooks Online in June of 2017. And so here I'm happy to share with you some of the key fundamentals of working with QuickBooks Online. In our session today, we're going to focus on 4 objectives. We're going to focus on how to work with income and expenses, which is critical for recording your profit and loss, and how the profit and loss comes about all through just the exchange of transactions that come in and money out. We're going to look at how you can connect to your bank feeds, and there's over 16,000 banks and credit card companies that allow you to connect to your data from your bank to online. They download every night, and you can help manage the transactions by saving a lot of time with getting more accurate data coming into your QuickBooks through that powerful channel, bank feeds. And we're going to look at how to do some bank reconciliations as well. I find one of the biggest mistakes that business owners make is they neglect the tool that's built into QuickBooks Online. There's a tool that you can go into and do a bank reconciliation to match up your bank statements so that your bank statement matches your QuickBooks Online data. And you have a little bit more peace of mind knowing that you didn't miss anything or you don't have any duplicates in your accounting software. And then we're going to also look at how to manage reports as well. Kind of like Stephen Covey would say, begin with the end in mind. And really, when you're talking about accounting, the end in mind is the December 31st end of the year, and then boom, or whatever your fiscal year is, trying to summarize all of your data in a 365-day calendar year to record. And it can seem like a monumental task. However, QuickBooks Online does make your life a whole lot easier to stay organized with the tools. It was meant for small business owners. There's over 5 million users in the QuickBooks Online data subscription. Really, the main QBO overview workflow benefits is that you can access it from anywhere. That's different than the desktop. You can access it through a wide variety of different channels on your with internet connection. Banks connect to the data, as I mentioned. All the data is served and backed up on Intuit servers. You never have to do any installations. You never have to do an update. Every time you're logging into QuickBooks Online, the developers are always constantly working on new features. So when a new feature is ready to go, it just shows up. There's no advance warning. You just suddenly have a new feature inside your QuickBooks Online account. There's tons of third-party apps that connect to QuickBooks Online. So for example, let's say you are you have payroll from another company, and you'd like the payroll data to come into your QuickBooks so it's all nice and tidy, and it puts down the correct gross amount. It backs out the personal taxes and only puts in the business taxes to your P&L. There's apps like that can connect to QuickBooks to help you stay on top of things. And then another great feature is you can automatically send invoices and emails to folks using QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks has its own payment system, and you can have people pay you with a credit card, or you can have QuickBooks automatically record transactions, while you're sleeping. It's amazing. You can have it pre-scheduled so that every first of the month you get a charge from a customer, and it just happens magically as you're sleeping, as long as you do the upfront work and get the information in there. So what I'd like to do now is turn our attention to like a demo overview and talk about how we're going to kind of take a look at it. So if you were to just go out to Google and type QBO test drive, you're going to see this website here, qbointuit.com, redirect test drive. This is a sample company that you can log into anytime you want. And it's just meant as kind of like a playground area. And that's what I'm going to use today to demo today. So we know we're in a sample company because it says sample company here. And the particular company we're working with, Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about in our objective is how do you work with income and expenses? Well, in QuickBooks, we have customers and we have vendors. Okay, to see our customers, we would hover over the left navigation bar where we could click on customers to manage our customers. I'm going to click on customers. And then what we have here is a list of our money bar at the top here. So if I wanted to quickly see who are the customers that have overdue invoices, I can click on 10 overdue and I can see them just like that. So this is 10 customers here that's been filtered out because of the everybody else who's not on the list is they might not have a zero balance and so forth. So I'm trying to say, okay. So for example, if I needed to check in on Barnett Design, I could click on Barnett Design, and then suddenly I'm seeing information related to it, and they have an invoice that hasn't been paid yet for $274.50. Okay, so what can I do? I can also see up here the balance here, and that would flow through what we call accounts receivable. I'm going to just check and make a quick note here. I'm going to click edit. And this is kind of, if you were creating your first brand new customers QuickBooks Online, this is kind of the information that you can use in the data set here. So address, notes, maybe I type a little note here, wants to renew contract on 1/1/2021, yeah, something like that. There's different information here related to that. By the way, I could attach a contract right here, so that maybe I get a signed contract. They're going to pay once a month. I could put that information right here, and I'm good to go here. So I hit save here. If I wanted to email this particular customer real quick, all I would have to do is under the action here, click send reminder, and email would be sent out to that. And what's really cool is when I open up the invoice, I'll be able to track down below, will show me a timestamp if they opened up or not. So I know without a doubt, I can tell if they've opened it or not, because it's going to show me right about where my mouse is, guys, right here. It's going to show me Shara Barrett, open up email, timestamp, and it will track all of that. And if I'm using QuickBooks Payments, they can just pay me easily online by entering in their bank information or credit card information. All right. So then, as far as I mentioned customers, right? If I wanted to create my own brand new customer, I would just go up and click new customer here and start from scratch here. Enter in as much information as I'd like. Definitely would want to have their email, assuming I want to email invoices out to them. You know, QuickBooks is such a user-centric environment with accounting. Some businesses absolutely rely on QuickBooks to enter their customer information in. However, other businesses out there like retails, e-commerce, it might not make sense for you to enter every single customer into your QuickBooks. If you're using like an app like Shopify, or you're using Amazon to sell your orders and your online e-commerce, then you wouldn't want to burden the system by entering a customer everyone. If you have 5,000 orders a month on your website, you're going to want to use another third-party app to keep track of all your records of your sales, and then you would push summarized data into QuickBooks and keep kind of separate. But again, it's use it how you'd like. A lot of service-based companies do great with keeping track of the customer information inside of it. The retail, not so much, because you could do that outside. Yeah. All right. If I wanted to show all of my customers, I'm just click clear filter, and now I can see everyone, all my customers here, and get on it. A nice report would be to click on reports, run the customer contact list, and this would be a great way to show. And all reports can be sent to Excel, PDF, and some versions allow you to send it to Google Drive as well. Okay, that is the highest version. The QuickBooks Online Advanced lets you do that. Okay, so let's take a look at the money going out next. So if we go to the left-hand side and hover over vendors, vendors are people that you owe money to. Okay, so these are a list of our vendors. And right here, I'm going to click on Norton Lumber and Building Materials. And I'm going to see a transactional list of what's happening here. So I have a purchase order turned into a bill, and then I've got some payments here. But I can go up and click on Edit, and this is our vendor information. So vendors are people that you pay, their accounts payable. And what we see here is the information you can gather and collect for vendors. Okay, so here's their account number. By the way, if this was an individual, like a subcontractor, I would probably want to track payments for a 1099, put their tax ID right here, set them up, put their W-9 right here. And that way, when it comes to be January, I've got an easy way to send out their 1099, which I can do inside QuickBooks Online for a very small fee of $15 for 3 forms. You can send out 1099s, and then each additional contractor that's being sent out is like $1 or $2. But really useful, particularly now that we have, you know, people on payroll possibly, and people that are not on payroll, but we still have to track their data, and that's a vendor. That's a 1099 worker here would do that. All right. Similar, if I wanted to run a report on the vendors, I would just go up to reports, search vendor, and I would run the vendor contact list. And it's super important you know the difference between a vendor and a customer in QuickBooks Online, and how to get that started out there, because all of your income and expenses will be based on that kind of information. Okay, so let me kind of backtrack here. Income, customers, expenses, vendors. And what I like to do is I like to share with you how to go ahead and create some sales forms from the beginning. Okay. So we have a new invoice that we want to do today, right now. When you do invoicing, you're going to want to make sure you understand what your products and services are, because what do you sell? All right. That's the fun part of setting up QuickBooks. You get to come in here and click new, and you get to create an item that will appear on your sales forms. Also, these also can show up on your bills as well, money going out. So let's say I have an industry where I have service items that I'm selling. I could click on service, and then I'm going to give it a name. And so we'll just call it custom design work. Okay, so that's custom design work. I can have the ability to put some kind of a notes on the sales forms. If I had a default price, like it was always $7,500, I could enter the 7,500 here as a default, but I would leave that alone if the number changed every time. Probably leave that blank here. Is it taxable or not? So great. If you do have to keep track, particularly those in Texas, it keeps track of your Texas comptroller sales, and at the end of your month or quarter or year, whatever it is, you have the ability to show real easily how much you owe in sales tax if you set up items and products properly that are taxable or not. And it's smart enough with the new sales tax center to see based on what tax jurisdiction you're in. So real easily, if I have a customer outside of Texas, how that would not go apart to the Texas comptroller sales. That'd be separate. Yeah. But in this case, keep it easy. No sales tax on my service items here. Okay. And now let's go ahead and create our first customer invoice with that amount there. So I would click the plus new sign. This is kind of a quick area here, guys. This is important here. If you ever lose it, you're like, where did it go? It's the little hamburger button here. That's what they call it, the hamburger button. Where my mouse is, you would just click to select the plus new icon. Older versions, it used to be over on the right. Now it's over on the left. The very first item here is invoice. Work that I've done, I'm going to receive payment later. Okay, so I'm going to select a customer. I'll go with Travis Walden. Okay, and then I'm going to come down here and select that custom design work here. You can see here's a list of all of my items and products is here. You see how it shot up 7,500 right off the bat. Again, I could change it if I wanted to here. It's not taxable, so it's no tax here. And then at this point, I just hit save and send. And I've got an email that will go out to Travis at this email here when I hit send and close. And then I will get an alert as soon as he pays me. I'll get an email saying money on its way, 7,500. If they pay with credit card, we get funds next day. If they pay with a bank transfer, it takes like 5 days to clear. But there's no fees if they pay with a bank transfer. Pay with credit card, it's going to be 2.9% would be how much is going to cost you to have them pay with a credit card. Awesome. Okay, so that's how you create an invoice item that's coming in, money coming in. Next, let's talk about expenses, how to create an expense. So when I click on the plus symbol here, turning our attention to the other way, vendors. Everything under the vendor column is money out, and we have the ability to create a check, an expense. A bill is what we call QuickBooks accounts payable. A lot of times we use invoice and bill in our lingo, but as far as QuickBooks is concerned, a bill is always going to be money that you are paying somebody else, a vendor, money out, whereas an invoice is always going to be the terminology we use in QuickBooks as far as money coming in from a customer. And if you get stuck, you can see customers, everything that has to do with sales is on the left column. Everything to do with expenses will be on the middle column right here. So I'm going to create a bill. And then I'm just going to select, we'll do computers by Jenny. All right, and Jenny gives me a bill, and let's say Jenny gives me this bill number 8786, and she says it's due in 30 days, so net 30. We got the bill date here. Then we have the ability to come in here and manage to select what kind of a category it would be. Now, if you're using items and details, then you also have those products and services that will show up down below here, kind of depending on where we're at here. Okay, just to be something quick here, we're going to do $500, and this is really cool right here. pay any vendor with a bank transfer for free. And so that is awesome, guys. If I have any bill that's recorded in QBO, I can schedule these payments here through bill pay. And then all I need to do is just simply finish the prompts, fill out their information, and paper check will be sent to them, or direct deposit if I can get the vendor's bank account number and routing number. Pretty awesome stuff here that can save you some time to do that. So here I'm in the test drive, and obviously I can't do it in the test drive, but this is kind of really easy to finish as you're going through the developer there. I was afraid of this here. I think I lost. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm back on. So if you need to pay anybody inside QuickBooks Online, you can do that. And what you would need to do is run a report called Accounts Payable. Oh, where is it? I think I overshot it here. Here we go. Accounts. Sorry, I'm taking so long to find it. Accounts Payable. What you owe. There it is. Here we go. So here's a report that shows me what I owe. And I could just easily select any of these items here and then open it up and then start to pay it by clicking Schedule Online Payment. Would be able to trigger that payment there. Isn't that great? No more handwritten checks. Say goodbye to handwritten checks. Let the computer pay your bills inside QBO. And of course, you require a few more setups, but it's pretty straightforward to do that. All right. Now that I've mentioned your income expenses, let's move on towards the bank feeds. So a bank feed is participating with a company. 16,000 banks connect to your QuickBooks account. And so step one would be to make sure that when you go to your chart of accounts, make sure that you have created a bank account, credit card account first. So here we have a checking account, savings account. If I wanted to create a new bank account, I could do that here. So let's say I've got a Frost bank account. Now, when I name it, I like to have you enter the last 4 digits of the bank account. So that way, when you're linking it up, you might have a business account and a personal account. You have an easy way to know which one is supposed to be synced up. And so adding the last 4 digits is a nice tip when you're creating your QuickBooks accounts to set up your bank accounts in there. Certainly helps with just organizing the bank recs and reconciliations as well. All right, I guess I didn't say that. I was wanting to. Bank, checking, Frost checking, and we hit save and close. Then after you've connected, after you've connected to the bank, you'll have an icon. It looks like this, these 2 little arrows back and forth. You can tell my Frost hasn't been connected yet. So to do that, I would click on banking. And then I would click link account. And then I would search for the bank and then basically click on it. And then I'd have to enter my username password for the bank. I'd probably get a security code that goes to my text so I can authenticate that I am the user. And then I'll have a drop down that will let me choose the starting date when I would want to sync the transaction over. So you have to be a little careful about choosing the correct date frame, particularly if you've been in business for years. You could go back to the beginning of the year. If it's a brand new bank, obviously just get when you open up the bank account. And what will happen is all of your data will show up in the bank feeds. So right now I'm looking at the bank feeds. And you can see, for example, we have, I'm just going to click on this guy right here. It's 1808. We can see that the date was on October 8th, 2020. Mahogany mugs was that. I have the ability to categorize that. So let's say that was advertising, marketing. I bought some mugs. I could add a little note here. Promo. And then that would get the vendor booked to advertising for 1808. When I click add, now it's in my books. Now you'll also notice that there's also money that's here for Tanya's nursery, and the difference between a bank feed adding versus matching. When I open up, you see how when I click, they open up. So look at Tanya's nursery. Tanya's nursery was $108.09. We have the ability to click on the find match, and we can say, in this scenario here, this is a match because it's already in the records. I can click here to show us somebody has already recorded job expenses to this here. So because it's already been booked in my register, in that scenario, I just need to do a match. And so when you have the chance to record transactions as they happen, do so, and then match them as they come in. But a lot of times when you're on your when you're on your credit card, you don't necessarily have to enter an expense every time you buy something on the credit card. You probably can just wait for it to come in here, and that will save you from entering in the date, the dollar amount. So again, like here's a bank transaction from the credit card. I would want to start off and type the name of the vendor or customer, and then categorize it as to what it was, then add. Yep. So great. So that's our bank feeds. Quick demo here. And the last thing I want to talk about is you can see that these numbers here, 6, 1, 22. What that means is that's how many transactions I've got on the MasterCard to review. There's 6 here that I still would have to go through, look at everyone, and match them up to the correct, make sure they validate out. Savings, I've got 1. When I match that, then I've taken care of that. And I've got 22. And again, every night there's going to be more pumping in here. It's like an inbox. Every time you have a transaction, it comes in here. When you hit update, it will go out and trigger the bank feeds. And every bank's a little different. Most banks will automatically download every night, but if they haven't, you can always cause an update to hit the update button to do that. All right. The biggest thing with the bank feeds is just not only getting it set up properly, but then you're going to need to do bank reconciliations. If you don't do bank reconciliations, you have a threat to your books that you aren't quite confident that your books are correct. So basically, a bank reconciliation is something that you should do every month. All right. And the dirty little secret is not everybody likes to do it. You know, I've never met anybody who started their business because they love bank reconciliations. Usually you start business because you love serving your customers, love doing that, but you just don't want to do it. So you're normal, that's fine. However, if you want a strong business and you want good bookkeeping, reconcile your bank accounts every month. Okay. Every time you get a bank statement, reconcile. And yes, that includes PayPal. If you have a business PayPal account, sure enough, you can connect PayPal to your QuickBooks online account. And what you're looking for is you're looking for the beginning balance and the ending balance. And it will show you all your money and money in and money out that you could do it and account for that. Basically, if you just started a bank account, you'd have a 0 for your beginning balance. Then you'd have the ending balance. And then this ending balance always becomes the beginning balance the following month. And it's a cycle that just keeps repeating every time. Pretty cool. So how do you do it? Let me show you how to do a bank reconciliation. You would select the gear icon. The gear icon is a bunch of the administrative tasks and so forth, including reconcile. At this point, we get out our bank statement and we attempt to do a reconcile. So we hit start. Let's do it. So if you have 4 accounts, 1 checking, 1 savings, 2 credit cards, you have to go in here and change it every time to the appropriate account you're reconciling. If you've ever reconciled, it would show you what the balance was the prior time here. So versus if you hadn't, it's going to start you off with a 0. Yeah. Okay, so on the Frost checking account, we're going to end it on November 30th. So here we just say, I type in my ending balance. I'm looking at my bank statement. $1,201 is the ending balance. And then I pick the ending date, November 30th, assuming that that's the date that the ending statement is. And I'd look at my bank statement, I'd see that we start with a 5,000 here to validate. Then I hit start reconciling. Okay. What will happen here is items that have come from in the bank feeds, like this nursery one, the 108, comes in self-checked. And see these 2 right here. These are green icons, meaning that they've been matched from the or added from the bank feeds. All these other ones have been hand typed in QuickBooks and they haven't yet been matched. So I'm gonna hit save for later and come back here. See how I'm off 1,000? Well, that's because I haven't yet started clicking on all of my deposits. When I start to reconcile, you can see this number change, or payments. Numbers changing up. So if I finish it out and by just clicking on this, on it, I might need to go back to the bank statement. I'm gonna hit save for later. And in the real world, we should not reconcile until we've taken care of all 22 of these right here, or at least of the current month. So a lot of these here, I just need to match up and all that. And I would do that first, but I'm going to jump ahead for time-wise and assume we got those in there and hit go back to reconcile. Your ultimate goal when you're reconciling, guys, is you are attempting to get all of your payments to match your bank statement. So I can click on payments, and these are all my payments. Now I'm going to click right here, which will select them all 33, just for a shortcut, even though you would want to go one at a time and verify these here. Okay. Now deposits, same thing. I'm going to select all these here. Okay. And I'm still not ready to go because I'm off by 1808 there. So what do I do in that scenario there? It just is going to be, you have to kind of figure out what's missing in here. What do I have? There's a lot of reasons why it could be off that amount there. One way would be, of course, just look at one at a time to do that. Figure out, are these all the correct amounts? Are there duplicates? There's some different settings in there, but we cannot reconcile with a difference of 6808. We're missing 6808. So, here's, if I click on 50, you can see how the number has gone down to now just 1808. So I need to find an 1808 in there. So for example, if I got a refund for 1808, maybe that could be the reasoning for that. So maybe a refund came in for 1808 from a particular brand. I'm just going to click the plus new sign and do a bank deposit for 1808. And we'll just say advertising 1808, and we'll pick the date. So it was last month or something like that. Who it was from. We'll say it was from that Muggs place. We got 1808 back, and I hit save and close. And now I have the missing transaction that will get me to zero balance when I click on 1808. I'm at zero. I look at the bank statement. I see I have 12 deposits. These match. I had 33 payments in the month. They all match. Now I hit finish now, and my work is done for that month. Okay. Now you see why people don't like reconciling, because it is tedious work sometimes when you don't have it exactly at zero. But the good news is once you have the bank feeds connected and you've matched and added the ones that you need to, it should come in at a zero every time, barring a few. Is always going to be some circumstances of bookkeeping and all that. But anyway, that is good stuff there, I think. Okay, so our last topic is going to be reports. And when it comes to reporting, you really have to know what is the difference between cash and accrual. Okay, so when you file your taxes, there's a checkbox on the IRS tax form that says, what kind of business are you? How do you report your business? Cash basis or accrual basis? And it will make a difference on how you run your profit and loss report. And basically, cash basis is when revenue is reported, income is reported when it is received, and expenses are recorded when cash is actually paid. Accrual is revenues recorded when customers are invoiced by the date of the invoice, and same thing with the expenses, recorded on when bills are recorded by the date for the suppliers and so forth. So huge difference, okay? So let's go back and run a profit and loss report. So if I were to click reports and hit profit and loss, okay, first I would choose the time frame. So it could be a custom date range. And maybe I wanted to go all the way for the year. And I hit run report. Okay. And at this point of time right here, I see that here's my revenue, 17,000, cost of goods sold. And I go all the way down to the bottom, and we see this number right here is our net income right there. This number here might go on your Schedule C 1040 if you're a sole proprietor. This is where you would, this line right here goes on your sole proprietor. Just depends on how your business is set up here. But what I want to do here is run it for one day only, just a profit and loss on November 9th. That's the only day I want to do. So November 9th to November 9th. And you can see here is our profit and loss, 7,500, but we haven't been paid 7,500. So when I shift it over to cash and hit run report, nada, there's nothing there at all, at all, okay? So that's a huge difference here. Let's say that they paid half of it. So I'm gonna open up that invoice that we did today for Travis. I'm gonna receive payment, and we'll just receive and I'm going to do 3,750. Okay, I think that's right. It's 3,000 coming in from Travis on today. They wrote a check. I could put in the details here and deposit that to my checking account, what have you. Hit save and close. Okay, so now let's run a profit and loss for today. So under accrual, we've got accrual 7,500. But if I'm filing for the IRS and I'm cash basis, I would click cash basis, accounting method, hit run report. And then you can see right here is the 3,750. This unapplied cash payment just means that the date of the invoice and the payment are off a little bit here. So my invoice date, I chose incorrectly to pay it 4 days before the invoice. I didn't notice that, so I'm going to make sure that the invoice payment date always comes on or after the invoice date, so that I won't see that again. That's just a default. QuickBooks didn't know what to do with those 4 days or whatever it was before the invoice, so it says unapplied payment. But your best scenario is you wouldn't even have to worry about that if they paid you with a credit card, because the QuickBooks will automatically record the correct payment date. I just had it backed out. Yeah, so that is a report that will show you your profit and loss report. You're going to be using, of course, this year as you do that, and just set it up for cash. And then when you're ready to send this to your accountant, you would just click right here and export as PDF or email it out. This would be all set, ready to go as an email out. And even better, if you have an accountant that uses QuickBooks Online, you would just simply add them to the user list and invite them. That way they can log in to your account and see your information at any time here. All right, so kind of wrapping things up here, we talked about how to record income and expenses. Customers would go over to the side and add your customer here and click on it and be able to edit your information here. Vendors are going to be under the vendor section. You'd see your vendors and be able to check in and see the transactions that they had. We managed our bank feeds by going to the banking section, and you can link your bank account to a whole host of different types of accounts that you have. Plenty of data to connect out there. And lastly, we looked at the reconciliation, and that's every month you go to the gear icon and click reconcile to get started on what it is that you're going to resume reconciling or start a new month period here. After you reconcile, then you're in a perfect scenario where you can go run a profit and loss report, or any of these other reports. For example, profit and loss by customer might be a good one here. Or you could go down into, hey, show me all of my sales by product, sales by product service. This is a good one here for all dates. This is really helpful, I think, to be able to see where things are coming from. And lastly, let me do one more report. Who's our top sales by customer? Sales by customer summary. Who is the best? All dates, run report, and this would show us our customers here. And I could sort descending order. So it turns out Travis is the number one, and then we've got Cool Cars and all that. Now remember, this is accrual. So when I click cash basis, that number is a little bit different. This is what the reality is. Cash is, they say that revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is reality. That's a good one, right? All right. I'd love to connect with you guys some more. And if you'd like to connect with me. I have a website at sequentiasolutions.com. And in there, if you go to the blog section, you'll see tons of QuickBooks Online tutorials, basic tutorials to advanced tutorials. So you can join the conversation afterwards and meet me online on my website. And I'm happy to connect with you there. It's easy to add comments to the blog post and so forth if you want to reach out to me. So again, I hope you enjoyed this presentation on QuickBooks Online overview, and it will help you see if QuickBooks Online might be a good fit for you and your business. Thank you.